Jose Feeds the World: How a Famous Chef Feeds Millions of People in Need Around the World. Words by David Unger, illustrated by Marta Alvarez Minguens. Jose Ramon Andres Puerta was born in Asturias in Spain. Jose's parents were both nurses. He spent most of his childhood in hospitals, seeing doctors and nurses helping sick people. He realized that it was possible to make life better for others in big and small ways. When Jose was 3, he liked helping his parents cook by peeling onions and scrubbing carrots in the cocina, the kitchen, after school. His mom prepared simple but delicious meals for the family, while his dad made huge pans of paella, a Spanish dish with rice, chicken, sausage, shrimp, and peppers, to share with friends and family on weekends. Jose saw how food could make sad people feel better. The cocina was his favorite room of the house. When he was 5, Jose decided he wanted to be the cook. He wanted the smell of rice, saffron, chicken, and sausage to float through the air, tickling everyone's throats and getting his neighbors to sing and dance. His father told him that before cooking, he needed to tend the fire for the paella pan. "My son, if you control the fire, then you can do any cooking you want." Jose didn't like this answer. He wanted to be the chef. But in time, he realized his dad had taught him an important lesson. When Jose was 15, he moved to Barcelona, Spain, to enter a cooking school to become a cocinero, the person who cooks in the cocina. He was so creative that he got a job as a chef's assistant in El Bulli, one of the most famous restaurants in the world. When he was 21, he left Spain for New York to cook in a Spanish restaurant. 3 years later, he moved to Washington, D.C. and opened Jaleo, a restaurant that introduced tapas, small or hot cold snack plates, to the United States. He liked tapas because they created a community where people could share and talk and laugh. Jaleo was the first of Jose's many restaurants. His dream of inventing his own recipes came true. Chef Andreas started to experiment with new ways of cooking, combining ingredients like grapes and breadcrumbs with his fried sausages in creative ways. Soon, he started receiving awards for his culinary work. In Washington, he also began volunteering in a soup kitchen. Cooking for people who needed help filled his heart with joy. Once again, he noticed how food could make people feel better. In 2010, a terrible earthquake hit Haiti. He saw news reports of people losing their homes and having no food and no water. Many were dying, and many more had no place to live and no food to eat. He needed to help. But Jose couldn't do the work alone, so he convinced a few friends to go with him. At first, he cooked beans as he did in Spain, but the Haitians taught him to puree the beans the way they liked to eat them. He learned the lesson that it was important to cook food in the local style to make people feel better cared for and to build a community. When he returned to Washington, D.C., he knew he needed to come up with a plan to help even more people. This is when he decided to create the nonprofit World Central Kitchen. His idea was to take everything he learned in the soup kitchen and use it to make a global organization that could provide free meals to people living in places affected by earthquakes, hurricanes, disease, and even war. When Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico in 2017, Jose Andres took a backpack with 3 days' worth of clothes and joined his World Central Kitchen team on the island. Puerto Rico was hit pretty hard. There was no electricity and many people were homeless. Jose and the team of World Central Kitchen couldn't do the work alone, and other nonprofit organizations didn't have a plan to feed the millions of people affected by the hurricane. So, he got the local people to volunteer. Together, they made thousands of sandwiches. He saw opportunities where people saw problems. I cook and I feed, he said over and over. I boil water, then add fish and vegetables. He wanted to help even more people, but sometimes when there is a really big disaster, there aren't enough kitchens to cook in. How could he do more? After Hurricane Dorian destroyed the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas in 2019, he realized that he needed to create a food distribution system based on what was happening on the ground. He could fly in stoves, generators, and pots to the Bahamas, but since the crops were destroyed, there wouldn't be any fresh ingredients to cook with. He needed to find another solution. The answer was to offer MREs, meals ready to eat, including food like sandwiches and apples. When the Volcan de Fuego, fire volcano, erupted in Guatemala, he realized he needed to find a way to get people who were in trouble to feel their own power. It's worth taking a risk to feed people, he said. He thought long and hard. He knew that if he could get people to use their skills, like growing corn or beans or shopping and cooking for large families, they could become leaders in their own communities and help others as they helped themselves. Whenever Jose Andres goes to a new place where people are hungry, he gets motivated because he remembers his father wearing a white apron and cooking paella. Jose can see his neighbors, young and old, eating, laughing, and even dancing. Over the years, Jose Andres has learned new lessons. In 2020, he set up a kitchen for the Navajo Nation during the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. The Navajo lived in isolated communities far from hospitals in New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. They were hit very hard, especially the grandmothers and grandfathers. It would be terrible if the old people, the elders, were to disappear since they conserve the heritage and memories of the entire Navajo Nation. He also set up kitchens in California's fields during the pandemic. Food pickers were considered essential workers, but no one was helping them survive. When he arrived in New York City, where many people were sick with COVID in 2020, he set up a distribution system to feed tens of thousands of hospital workers. His memories of his parents gave him so many good ideas. 5 days after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, the people of Ukraine left their homes. Everything was confusing, but the World Central Kitchen was there. Jose Andres was there. In Ukraine, World Central Kitchen keeps people fed in a country that for centuries has been feeding the world corn and wheat. By truck, by train, by car, by van, people are getting fed. Jose asked the Ukrainian people to become food fighters. 4,500 volunteers, mostly women and teenagers, stepped up. It was a very difficult situation, but Jose Andres felt proud to get a country to help its own. As long as there's hunger, Jose Andres will be cooking, organizing, and making people feel that his calling to feed the world is also theirs. And one day, you too will find your calling and make the world a better place. I always said that wherever there is a fight, so hungry people and people in need may eat, that we will be there.